Okay, welcome back everyone to the 447th Knowledge Seekers workshop here, the second half. Mr. Kesh, are you there? I thought maybe we could start with a tribute to...
Yes, just 1 second. I have to get my earphone. Yes, I'm back. There is a...
Go ahead.
Sorry about that. There is a notice from the Keshe Foundation, and that is with much regret and condolences to the family of Martio Treni, who was one of our teachers, passed away this week. And the Keshe Foundation will run a memorial as usual we do for our people, hopefully next week. We offer our condolences to all his teachers and all his students. And we carry a good memory with him, as he was one of those teachers who had his own way of teaching and his own way of sharing knowledge. And I'm sure has brought a lot of joy and a lot of what I call new understanding and comprehension of the science of the plasma technology. As usual, we all age and we all have a time lapse on this planet, and some of us choose his own time as the soul matures. Hopefully, he'll find his elevations, what I call position in the dimension of the Creator in the universe. Are there any questions?
I thought maybe we could have 1 minute of silence in the memory of the being of Mario, who affected many of us knowledge seekers in a strong way. He had a strong way about him that required you to be strong in order to handle his energy in a way. And that
as a guitarist, I think he had that. Huh? He could play the strings, and he thought the human race is a string. And when I push it, it'll make the noise.
Many of his friends considered him to be the greatest or one of the best guitarists in his abilities. So, yeah, dearly missed. And he was also very much into the flower of life. That was our background image in today's workshop, as one of Mario's drawings, many drawings of the flower of life, as he tried in earnest to get the knowledge seekers to understand what he understood about the flower of life and about the frequencies and interactions of the harmonics, mostly, that were the basis of life that Mario believed in. So, yeah.
It's in a way, yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
In a way, he understood it his way. As you said before the start of the program, we have an interaction with him in the 60th Knowledge Seekers program, that you understand the way he thinks and the way things are with him. Anyway, as you said, we'll take a minute of silence for memory of his knowledge and his peaceful soul.
Okay, we'll take 1 minute starting now. Okay, we can carry on with the workshop now, Mr. Kiss. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Do we have any questions anyway? Hello, Rick.
Sorry, my microphone wasn't on. Go ahead, Lynn, first. Yes.
Yeah, I have a question from a Chinese knowledge seeker to ask about the Mitra. He said, you often mention about Mitra in your teaching, but Chinese people are relatively unfamiliar with this name. We are most familiar with Buddha, followed by Jesus and Muhammad. In addition to local Asian sages or such as Confucius and Lao Tzu. So I want to know more about Mitra. I checked Baidu, the most popular search site in China, and said that Mitra was a god in a very old Aryan religious system, and there was a religion called Mitras. So when you talk about Mitras a lot, it feels like you're reviving an ancient religion. Pardon for my direct feeling. I personally am not a big fan of religion, but I understand that the source of religious knowledge is enlightened people who have nothing to do with the religious system. My request is, can you tell me more about Mitra? What she is, where she lives, what is his relationship with men? Why did Mitraism emerge? What's the difference between Mitra with the Shakyamuni Buddha and Jesus? Please explain in details. Thank you.
Mitra is the essence of the love of the Creator, is not a religion. Mitra is not what we call beginning of. Those who understood the love of the Creator for another created thing, they created the understanding of the love of the Creator to a path of life. They call it Mitraism. She is not a religion. She is not a path. Does your lover, somebody you love, the love you give to someone a religion, or is a path of emotion of understanding? Mitra is what Creator loved to show love to. It means the essence of interaction of its own dimension of emotion. So when we talk about Mitra, Mitra is the essence of the love, the devotion of the Creator in understanding how creation can love each other. And with it, he fell in love with the whole created things. Mitra as the essence of the soul, when it interacted with the dimension of the soul of this planet, it fell in love with it. As I said many times, you go to the football stadium, there are 100,000 people in there. You don't fall in love with none of them. And you walk out, and there is somebody outside the football stadium, and you just lose your life to it, and you fall in love with it. It's the same. The soul of the love of the Creator in interacting with the soul of the planet Earth, you fell in love with it. Its beauty, its dimension of diversity. So Mitra is not a religion. Mitra is the love of the Creator in giving, in being unconditionally loved by the creation of its own Creator. It's like in a way, the child of you. You create that soul. You hold this physicality, but the true love comes between the soul of the mother and the soul of the child. Dimension of physicality will fall apart. Mother dies, the child dies, but the love stays. And this is what Mitra is. is not a religion. Those who try to explain the devotion of the Creator to his created thing created the Mitraism, the way, the path to love, unconditional, to talk good about it, to think good about it, and act good about it, because if you do, it can hurt the lover. That's all it is. Then those who wrote converted this condition, then they came to have others who followed it, and he traveled to see it, and people who traveled, they explained to him or to them what this condition of love is, and then Buddha emerged from it. From someone who went from the land of Persia to Tibet or wherever the Buddha was, and Buddha fell in love with the understanding of the love of the Creator, and then you have the Buddhas. The same with Christianity, Judaism, and the rest. These people did not travel, but in the essence of the creation, they understood the love of the Creator for his created things, which is Mitra. And then everything else comes from it. When you call Jesus, Jesus or Moses or Muhammad, they're all replication of each other as they came through the time of each other. Jesus was a Jew, touched by the further understanding of the love of what we call the Creator. He never wrote a single sentence, but people have made the Bibles of it. Mitra never wrote anything. People made in the name of it. In a way, if you look at it, Jesus was illiterate in writing, but all this Bible, everything you believe in, is written by his so-called disciples. He never put a word down. Even with Muhammad, who traveled to Palestine and saw that these people have a God, the Creator, and us in Saudi, we worship statues. He never wrote anything. It was written as he spoke. The only prophet, the only messengers we know his own handwriting is Baha'u'llah Blessed. That there is no change. Nobody can interfere. What we read about Moses is written hundreds of years, anybody's imagination. Torah is nothing but what I call a bunch of people's writing put together as it suited them the time and place. Mitra never wrote, they didn't. The Mitra is the emotion of the feeling of the soul of the Creator, and nothing else. It's not a religion. It's like when you fall in love with someone, what do you write about him or her? And it could be totally not what he or her is, but it's into your eye, your understanding of what it is. So when you talk about Mitra, you talk about the love, the devotion, the detachment, and what I call embodiment of the true essence of the Creator to his created, what we call Mitra. And so don't count as a religion. If love to you is a religion, so Mitra is to God. Any other question?
Did that satisfy your questions, Lynn, or?
You never satisfy Chinese. I tried for 3 years living here. It doesn't work. Don't try. But I understand. It's as Lynn is there. What do you call that? We've been to many meetings with Taoism people and with the others. They invited us to other places, and some of them have some ideas about our teaching and who we are and whatever. And you understand that the whole structure of the culture of the Chinese is so beautiful, but is embedded in a lot of mysticism and a lot of understanding of your own translation of the knowledge. If Lynn wants to add to it, she can explain what they talk about us, what the Chinese Taoism and the others think of the Keshe Foundation and our work. or the return of Buddha, as they call it. There's a word for it. Are you there, Lynn? You want to add anything to it?
Yeah, you want to talk about what?
Yeah, when you talk about the Buddha, how do you
Yeah.
see the Buddha and what are called myths about
Myths is about what?
Buddha or
Ah,
Taoism?
Taoism. Yeah, for me, I think no matter which kind of religion or these sages, they are all is like try to explain the truth about the creation, about the whole world, just from their different point of view or their experience. So I think the just because of different people and different location, different culture, and then and for that time, their expression. But as what you said before, I think I asked you one question. I said, oh, when I read something about Taoism, I think it's the same with what you teach, and you told me that you said no matter the people 2,000 years ago or right now, if they are talking the truth it has no different.
You got to understand, Lynn is what if I spend time in Buddhist temples, and she's a true what do you call teacher in Buddhism, or understands a lot of it. Anything else? Any other question?
Okay, we have a couple of other hands up here with Salamia and Dimitri. So Salamia, if you could go first.
Yes, thank you very much, Rick. Hello, Mr. Yesh. Nice to meet you again. It's a pleasure when I hear your discourse, your teaching for today about peace and what is our noble mission. You touch my heart, you touch my soul. Thank you very much. And for Mario, or Mariel, what is his name? I know him. I'd like today to ask kindly you to try to elevate ourselves and together to elevate the soul of him by enlightening us about the link between our technology, nanotechnology, and the seed, flower, and tree of life. Thank you very much. Much love to you.
What do you call the flower of life? You have to understand the structure. Rick, can you bring up what she talks? Because a lot of people don't understand what is a flower of life. If you go to encyclopedia, you can dig it out. And if you look at this design, if you look at and in a way I understood Mario very initially in his work, and he was very correct because he understood the essence of the field, which in many teachings we went back onto, and a lot of you talk about it but never understood it. But he came to understand it the way the line of creation and transportation and transmutation is. Can you just show the picture of it? The picture of the, and if you want to read it, what it says, then we can expand on it.
Okay, there's a number of different pictures depending on specifically, but we can have a look at that in a minute here. It says overlapping. Oh, it's redirected from the flower of life. I see. Okay, so they call it, instead of flower of life, overlapping circles grid. Is a geometric pattern of repeating overlapping circles with an equal radius in two-dimensional space. commonly designs are based on circles centered on triangles with the simple two-circle form named Vesica Pisces. And we've seen that before, or on the square lattice pattern of points. Let me see if we can just have a look here at the traditional pattern. Might be something like this. So Mario drew a number of diagrams that were similar to this, and showing the way the octave works actually. And if we go back to both the 56th Knowledge Seekers workshop, where another knowledge seeker was talking about the octave built into this pattern, and also the 60th Knowledge Seekers workshop, as Mr. Kesh mentioned, where Mario and Mr. Kesh discuss it at length for about an hour, over an hour.
If you look at something very straightforward with this picture, Mario understood it, and a lot of knowledge seekers have a problem to understand it, is look at the points. If you want, sorry about this one, I have one mistake here. If I take this out and put this back in here, and then you will understand what Mario understood, and a lot of you have a problem, or a lot of people have a problem about this flower fly. If you look at it, it's a star formation. Is the essence of the motion of magnetic field. And when you have a combination of the two of these, which if you understand it or you can see it, is these 2 points with the same center, this creates the dynamic motion between all, which is the essence of the creation. This is why this flower of life is life, because in itself creates interaction, and within itself, it has a common point with the other points to create another cycle of life. And that's what is called the flower of life, which means through its dynamism, through its dynamic structure of the star formation, it creates life, and it can expand into a bigger dimension as it interacts with more points. We have an animal which works on this basis, but they never understood it. Go and look at the bufferfish. Rick, if you can go to encyclopedia and bring the skeleton of the bufferfish, what we call it blowfish. Bufferfish has a very much loose but very much contained structure of the what we call flower of life. And that is why it can expand. It can blow itself up and reduce itself. It's like a cycle of life. You can expand it to any dimension and has no limitation. When you look at these structures physically, then you look that if these lives are of this planet or out of the creation of the fields of the universe, if you can reduce this picture and bring the picture of the skeleton of the bufferfish, you'll see it. It's a very interesting understanding of the work of the star formation. And in loose connection in the field structure, the fish uses the muscle tissue to hold, to contain the flower of life. And it's amazing how creation adapts itself into these conditions and to these positions. I see your arrows moving. Are you still searching for bufferfish? Pufferfish is there, it pops itself up to what we call, that's the one. If you look at its skeleton, the structure, you understand it's still got a skeleton and how it is positioned. And then you see a lot of similarities. And then in a way, you can see the expansion of the universe by what we call a flower of life. This is a flower of life in the universe, not the physicality and dimension of the man. Can you show its bone structure? You should have it.
Not sure if
You have to go to a bufferfish.
to bubble fish. Is that what you mean?
You know the blowfish, the one you, if you eat part of the structure of it, it can kill you. The Japanese are good at it.
Keeps referring me to a different page here. This page.
Some refer to it as a bufferfish. But if you look at its skeleton, in places has this ability. The structure is very much loose, like the what you call flower of life, and it is the same shape. Is a combination of the loose bones in a star formation, and it will give you a lot of understanding of the totality of if you can't find it, I can send it to you as an image. Rick?
Yeah, I'm not seeing.
It is on your, it is on this where it's from Wikipedia, so you have no problem in sharing it. Where are you, Rick? You have to clean up whatever. I sent it to you. It's on your image.
Okay.
And we see the same kind of structure. When you talk about the flower of life, it allows to structure to expand, because life is not constant, life is not fixed. It's like a bufferfish, it expands. And to have that expansion, you have to have certain physical structure field forces than what we have as ribs. Our ribs limits our expansion of our chest, and that expansion of the chest limits our thinking, way we take energies, the way we grow, the way we shape ourselves. The rib cage brings limitation in man's intelligence, emotion, and everything else. When you have a rib cage like this, like a flower of life, then it's a different understanding. You absorb different. If the rib cage of the man was like this, like a bufferfish, we would have had totally different emotions, totally different understanding of life. If you open this picture and look at the dimensions of the bone structure, then you understand more of it. Loosely connected, but always connected to the next cycle of energy. So when we talk about this, is more or less, if you look at this bone structure, is very much a star formation, which means the expansion. And that's why star formation energy fields are expansion fields. I hope I answered your question. And the tree of life is the same. It's the extension to understanding of the more, but rooted to the base, what we call the base of the tree. In the Persian culture, we have we make carpets called Tree of Life. And you always put the tree from the point of the entrance to a building, into a hall, into a house. As you walk in, and you become part of the life of the tree of the family. And that's what it's called, Tree of Life. Any other question?
Thank you very much. Yes, you enlightened everybody and me.
Very
Thank
much.
Okay, we have, thank you, Salmia. We have Dimitri next in line here.
Thank you, Rick. Firstly, I'd just like to say, with regards to Mario, what a beautiful soul he was. I interacted with him many times in the private teachings years ago.
A bit stubborn.
Pardon?
He was a little bit stubborn. He was very much set in his own ways and his way of thinking.
Right. It's interesting what he used to teach. A lot of the stuff that he shared with the group, I comprehended to a certain level and was able to continue the conversation and have a to and fro with him because he literally because I comprehended it. It was I liked what he taught. I really did. A beautiful soul, and I'm sure many of us are looking forward to interacting with that soul again in space in the future. So I have a few questions. They're very small questions. They won't take up much of your time. My first question is related to a discussion we were having in One Nation, One Planet, One Race this week. Now, as we know, we have the soul of the man, the soul of physicality, and the physicality. I know and remember from a long time ago, from having a discussion with you in regards to flight in space and the reduction of, at that time, what I called the soul of consciousness. And you clearly stated it's actually the soul of awareness of the truth. Now, everybody's talking about the soul of the man, the soul of physicality, and the physicality. Where do we put the soul of awareness of the truth into that magnetosphere, please?
Explain yourself.
I'm sorry?
Explain yourself, what you're expecting, what you're looking for.
Well, a long time ago in, I believe it was actually a normal public workshop, I was having a discussion with you with regards to experiences I had, which was flying around space, reduction of the soul of physicality, and the feeding of the soul of the man through interaction with other human beings, activating the carbon-14 and allowing my soul of the man to take care of the totality of souls within the magnetosphere, my magnetosphere. I clearly remember you stating that what I called soul of consciousness, because when you go into space using the soul, there is more than one soul in that spaceship, a primitive spaceship, the full sphere, perfect full sphere. When that sphere is manifested in this dimension, you can feel it. I felt like the Michelin Man, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I felt really fat and big, really. I felt like a blowfish. How synchronistic is that we've spoken about that today? When the primitive spaceship of the soul of the man activates, you feel like a blowfish, all right? When that spaceship goes into space, you have the soul of the man and you have another soul in there. That other soul in there is a passenger. It's an onlooker, it's an observer. And the soul of the man will do whatever it wishes to do, and you literally observe that. In many ways, that's the basis of schizophrenia, but at an elevated level that's in line with the universe. So the discussion that we had and also, you know, the soul of the man, the primitive spaceship, it will, when it does things, it will talk to you, but it's not verbal talk. It's interaction from soul to soul, that emotion from the soul of the man, the primitive spaceship.
Let me tell you two things. First of all, the soul of the man is not a primitive spaceship. It's one of the most advanced systems ever created.
You call
It has
it a primitive
memory. Yes,
yeah.
primitive in its condition compared to the creator.
Okay.
But in understanding it, it's one of the most advanced systems ever existed. Doesn't need containment, but carries all the emotion. Doesn't need what we call to be encaged, but it cages itself to the dimension, what we call like the soul of physicality. On the other hand, we have not understood the power of our soul yet. Man has not even entered to the dimension to understand the power, the unlimited power which he possesses, and how we can use it. Even in teachings of today, as I said, to you is very hard to understand, to create that tornado, that, as I call it, tornado of the transmutation. But if you understand that your soul is a dynamic soul, and your soul of physicality is dynamic through the interaction of field of your blood and the rest, then you understand if you can control through the emotion of the soul, the field strength of it, and bring it into interact with the field strength of the soul of physicality, you do not need the shape of the man. As you use the field of the existence of the man, in the sense of the soul and the soul of physicality, you can create that tornado. It's like when we, in some other teachings, I always explain, if you put your hand out and create the light, and then the emotion between the light in your hand and the soul will feed you. You can create anything. But if you change this strength slightly, and strength release more energies of the soul in interaction with what I call the soul of physicality strength, you create that tornado. How is a tornado created? The change, the vast change between two dimensions on the surface of the earth and the cloud level. And this is the same, but you create that tornado through interaction of the fields, magnetic fields of the soul of the man and the soul of physicality. Then man understands there is a lot for him to understand about himself. We have just shown you how you can open up your soul. You do not know what you can do with the soul. You're happy with maybe reaching the soul of a leader to change. You can create hurricanes in the soul of the world leaders that they elevate so fast, they receive so much energy that they don't even forget about, they want to be a human. We haven't understood. It's just that when we say you need one soul to change everything, that's what it comes to. It took the soul of the creator to create the whole of the universe. You can imagine what one soul can do on this planet, which is embedded in the soul of the Creator, which is the soul of Mitra and his children, which is the creation of the love of the Creator. And this is what we need to understand slowly. When we spoke today about the soul of the man and how you can create a condition without the system. Now, maybe you get an insight what is to come in the teachings in the coming time. How do you go in the depth of the elevation of the fields that by humbleness in the dimension of the strength of the soul of physicality, you create that condition. You don't need the physicality. When you get a tornado, whatever the tornado touches, it splashes to pieces, and you see the cows and the buildings get thrown around in small pieces. But in a tornado of the physicality of the man, the soul of physicality of the man, and the soul of the man, you open up all the fields of the man. You don't need the hand, you don't need the leg. And we know Jesus tried it once and he got frightened by it. And he was the only one. He was young and he was very, fearless in these things. He saw it, he understood when he gave life, brought the dead to life as he understood. He tried this to see if he can create that condition, that it becomes a tornado of life, but the effect of it frightened him and he allowed it to go. And we teach it. Now you understand it. You will be under awe. Every created things which has the soul of physicality and the soul of a man and soul of the existence will be able to do everything you can ever imagine. Is to come. As I said this morning, up to now we taught you about the physicality till recently. Now we tell you about the knowledge of the universe. And this school is very tough. Very, very tough. Especially if you're attached to, to the world of physicality. But you don't have a choice. Sooner or later, it becomes like a mobile phone. It becomes fashionable, and then some people lie about it. They have a beautiful phone and they have a thing, patched up, and some people have a beautiful phone, which is their soul. And they all become the same.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. You've just answered my second question, which is irrelevant now. So my final question: when
are you trying to beat Jalal with 3 than 2?
When you activate the soul of the man and you reverse the jacket, and the soul of the man is in taking care of the totality of souls, when that magnetosphere, very advanced spaceship, not primitive, goes into space, can that magnetosphere receive other souls and take them into space as well, like an aeroplane, for instance?
What I always said is you can give that if that soul wants to go. This is a part of what we are trying to, and we've shown in the flight system, where a couple go in a system and one decides to go part of the trip, not all of the trip. And one decides to do a full trip together. And this is, you can, but has to be accepted. You cannot force it because you can.
I see. Thank you very much, Mr. Kesh.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Okay, well, let's take a couple of questions from the Q&A here, and then we have Jalal with a hand up.
With 4 questions this time.
Antonio is asking, Mr. Kesh, the consent for the mobile system, is there a form that the Kesh website has, or can my friend sign as a witness?
Has to be notarized because this is a legal paper. We are crossing borders. We are crossing borders, and there are all eventualities. One of our knowledge seekers has written a beautiful one. We'll try to go through it to see correctly legally, and then we put it out for those who want to do it. But it has to be. You are traveling under responsibility. All these NASA astronauts you see, they all sign these things for any eventuality. This is part of the trial test, and it has to be done. It has to be. We are entering a science, okay, it looks different, but in fact it's the same. It's a transmutation, taking somebody from one place to another. When you buy a ticket from an airline, you consent to whatever happens till they get you there. It's part of your ticket if you read the condition of the ticket purchase. And so it's the same, but this time you stand responsible for it, especially during the trial time. It's very interesting what is coming about how you will see it. I just had a little note while I'm teaching for our development team. It says they're assembling it currently, the control system. So we'll see how things will come up.
Mr. Kesh, may I just ask you another quick question? Sorry for jumping in here. I'm going back to this whole primitive spaceship thing because I remember, you see, the soul of a man is a full sphere, a bubble, if you wish. And many other spaceships, they have the fields turned back in on themselves, creating a flat bottom, creating the stability to fly. Many souls lost learning to do this, to create that stability. So, you know, and that's more of in terms of I don't want to use the word physicality because it's got nothing to do with it, but I'm just going to go with it anyway. In terms of physicality, a spaceship that has the fields turned back in on itself is more advanced than a complete sphere. Yeah, is that correct?
In a sphere plasmas, we have the same. Fields turn in as much as they link in. They create that shield, we call it the surface of the, what do you call it? The planet or the sphere. We have a wrong physical pictures in our head that we have a south pole and a north pole. All the fields go up to the south, into the south and comes out through the north. In fact, the fields come from all dimensions and all directions right across the whole surface of the planet or a sphere when it's in the shape of a plasma like that. So that's what I said, is they tell us the light, you cannot bend the light, but in fact the light, if you cannot bend the light, you cannot bend any magnetic field. And this is once we put this explanation aside, then we understand everything in the world of creation is possible and is as we see it.
Okay, thank you. One last question. I'm really sorry. When you've had these beautiful souls that have gone for flights in the flight enhancement system, many of them, they could feel in a different dimension that they had hands and they had feet, etc. Why, when using the soul of a man, when I was in space, why could I only feel my arms up to my elbows and my legs up to my knees? Why could I not feel hands or feet? Is that because the flight enhancement system is incorporating more of the solar physicality? And because I had
the enhancement unit is a complete understanding of the structure. And on the other hand, what they feel on the moon with their hands or walking with their feet is the extension of the connection of themselves with their souls, nothing to do with the system. It's how they want to perceive, translate. It's like the way you translate the dream when it comes from your grandmother in your head and you don't see there's somebody else standing behind grandmother, but in fact there is somebody else, but you only see the grandmother. You understand? This is not of the system, is the interaction of the translation of the information by your own soul of physicality inside the soul of the man. Or we call it vision blindness, if you want to say it.
Okay, so if using the soul of the man, I went to another dimension with other entities there. Or not that. Let's just say my soul of the man went to the moon.
Yeah.
Do you think I would feel my feet and my hands unlike
That depends
I did?
on you. Depends on you and your what you want to accept between your soul of physicality and the soul of man, which gets imprinted on your memory disks of the interaction. That's all it is. Nothing to do with anything else. Who can tell you what to remember? It's like background noise. We ignore a lot of background noise, but there's a lot of noise there. We choose not to. It's the same. It's an individual process, nothing to do with totality. It's
Okay.
preference what it is. Thank you very much. Are there any questions, Rick?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. We have Jalal with the hand up here and several more questions in the Q&A. Go ahead, Jalal.
Yes, thank you, Rick. Hello, Mr. Kesh. Hello, everyone. My deepest condolences for all the knowledge seekers, but we are not. He is not lost. I'm speaking about Mario. Whatever he have put out, it's already there, and he will gonna be benefit from what he left. And we always elevate his soul. He tried hard to teach, and as you said, Mr. Kesh, he was really stubborn, but in a good way. He made his blueprint of his thoughts and ideas. So
you
Mr.
had
Kesh,
many hot discussions with him, huh?
Oh, no. He just now he brought a smile to my face because I was always in
I think
conflict.
he thought of you as a rebel sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Carry
what we trying it's adding to the knowledge in all aspects, and it is for the knowledge seekers to take from it. And as we say, there is no right and wrong. It's always a learning process. Mr. Cash, can I teach 1 minute here?
Yes, I'll go for a break.
No, not so fast. What was your learning? What you learned in the university? It is system control, yes.
Yes, of something called a nuclear reactor. I was supposed to, but I never learned it.
Okay. It is always about system control. And when we have a system, we need to control it. And when we control it, we advance in that. So it's about the system control. You open up this teaching in the blueprint back in 2015, and I think you tried very hard to bring the knowledge seekers only to this point, but maybe the knowledge seeker missed it in a way. And really, I would like the knowledge seekers to go to the blueprint in 2015 and especially go to the system control. If you understand it, then you can go to your system and try to, in a way, control it. We are doing it all the time, but we do not know the understanding of it. And it's amazing what you just said before. Dimitri asked that background they are working with the system control, and it's all about system control, my dear friends. How you add, how you take to make a condition for this condition to be a magnet, to be a bubble, to be a ray, to be whatever you want. How much love, how much all other emotions. It's all energies in respect to gravitational or magnetical, to give or take or whatever. Magna positioning in a small understanding. So if you want to start to really understand it, go to the blueprint, make it in the matter state. We always say, and you say, Mr. Cash, we bring the meta state to understand the higher position, the plasma, and then we will understand our position and our physicality and how we interact the soul of the man and the soul of physicality to make Maghreb position. So there is no question, Mr. Cash, today. Dimitri, I think he took he took everything in the questions. So thank you very much. Come back, Mr. Cash. Your minute is finished.
I think we're feeling empty without without your question there, Jalal.
Yeah, I got the best
Questions.
shot. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. We're waiting
It's a
for the
better shot.
punchline.
it didn't come. It's okay. Yes.
Maybe I will jump in the future. No problem.
That's good. That's the old Jalal we need.
It's all part of understanding it and progressive understanding of what comes up and what it is, and not the totality. And how we want to perceive to suit us. Any other question or point?
Okay. In the Q&A here in Zoom, Carlos has a question. Good morning, Mr. Kesh. Can vertical beings create multiple souls independent of seeds? We appreciate your guidance.
What does that mean?
Well, I guess he's asking if the vertical beings, which are plants and trees, can they recreate or create another soul without seeds?
Yes, and is actually is the cornerstones of diversity in the vertical. One thing which you got to remember is very simple. We talk about the first man, the first woman, and then we have the diversity, or the first life, and we have the diversity as a fish, as a lion, as a man, as a mouse, and the rest of it. The same thing exists in the world of creation of vertical people. They all started from one interaction of the fields. And the interaction of those fields with the other fields created the diversity. And then the seed was the confirmation of the same, repeat of the same. Nowadays, what do you call it? They take the skin from one tree and they put another one and they diversify the fruit. If a skin can do, so can the fields of the plant. All the vegetation you see on this planet started with one interaction of the fields, which led to creation of the vertical. And the rest comes from interaction of the fields and diversity of the environment. Any other question?
Okay, a question from the Brazilian, from Marcia of the Brazilian community. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. A few days ago, we listened to the Plasma Reactor Group recording when you did the mobile transmutation test with the knowledge seekers who were present. After listening to this recording and having intense experiences, despite being a smoker for 40 years, I immediately lost the desire to smoke. I feel that my body is clean. I would like to know if it is possible for the lung to be cleansed even after all this time of being a smoker.
What do you mean by cleanse? To get rid of the nicotine inside embedded.
I
Take
assume.
years. It will take years. It will take years. And it's not something will happen overnight. You know, you take your car for a car wash, take your lung for a wash and see how much of it they can take it out. And then would you feel still the same? We had a experience yesterday with one of the knowledge seekers who came in, and we usually don't ask questions because all it is we want to see if we can create the envelope of the transmutation. And when he came out, he said, I had 2 coronas, and the last one, the funny one, which came and is supposed to be very dangerous. And he said, I have like asthma, the asthma condition, couldn't breathe. He said, I went into the system as a dead man, and I came back as a live man, rejuvenated. And he said, I can breathe now. I can breathe easy. In a way, the breathing or cleaning of the, what you call the lung, is very much is in condition of what fields you can replace in it. And how much of those fields you can use. Many people who go through the enhancement unit with their breathing problems come out without it. We understand why. It's part of the, don't forget the lung is the closest thing to the soul of the man in the expansion, interaction with the central fields of the, what we call the soul of physicality, which massive amount of it is always in dimension of motion in the heart of the man. So there's a lot of things can be done, but essentially, you might not be able to clean it, but you can bring a lot of change to it. It's nice to see that you had such an impression. Many people have this impression when they go through the enhancement unit with the breathing. And we saw one yesterday clearly.
What about that loss of desire to smoke in this? And some people lose the desire to eat, and
It's
or
not a desire.
other things.
We open up a field of strength which feeds or satisfies that need. That means we get it from the what they call the environment of life or the surrounding. That's all it is. We satisfy desire with the same field of strength. And so you don't need to smoke. It's like that desire of hunger. When you're satisfied with the fields from the water, you don't need to drink or eat. You have to understand nothing is magic. You have to understand the principle behind it and what does satisfy that. Is the urge to smoke, is the urge to the addiction to a cigarette, which gets satisfied. And so you don't need, we've seen this for years with this technology, with the people with the smoking. Many people have given up because it some certain fuels within the system or emotion get satisfied, you don't need it. It's not the first time. I've seen this many people. As I said to all the knowledge seekers, most of the knowledge seekers who come to LINS, your journey just begins in the system. It's just that, like, we take you from Vienna to New York and we let you loose in New York, and then the rest of the United States is yours, where you go and what you discover in the rest of the universe. And this is a journey that we open up to the soul. It's beautiful if people understand what opportunity, what condition has been created.
Okay. We have another question in the Q&A from JC. Hello, satisfaction, everyone. My name is JC and I am Brazilian. My question is about transmutation and the process that the body goes through. In the Knowledge Seeker 446 Knowledge Seekers workshop, you talk initially, Rick, about the fact that the body can produce even nuclear energy through the thalamus and the thymus. And I would really like to understand this better, since when we study the thalamus, we learn that it functions as a transmission center for afferent and inferent nerve impulses, transmitting and integrating various motor and sensory impulses. And the thymus is a gland that doesn't produce lymph, since the small intestine and the liver produce lymph. So how exactly would this conversion of energy for the formation of a body capable of producing nuclear material, such as uranium and plutonium, be? And how would hydrogen make these twists within these two systems, the thalamus, which I believe is not a gland, and the thymus, which is a gland? It's not really clear to me. Thank you very much.
Oh my God. We need about 20 sessions of teaching for this.
It's a long
But,
question.
yeah, but principally, the gland is a conversion of the field into dimension of physicality of the GANs. And the other one just provides the information and the strength for what is needed. If you read your own question, the first part about the one in the head, which is control physical dimension of field, and one in the body, which is a converter. And it decides how to do, and according to the need of the emotion, provides the physical strength of it. When in your part of your emotion in your head, you want to get rid of that one who created you so much aggro, somebody takes a knife and kills the guy. The father, by emotion, kills his what do you call it, prostate, which led to creation of, or part of the creation of the child who brought him so much pain. And it transfers that information to the gland, and the gland creates a specific strength fields which allows a specific point in that organ, which is called prostate, to become cancerous. Not to produce, stop producing. I don't want to create another one like this. You got to remember, women stop becoming fertile with the present time, not with our technology. And when you understand our technology, you still can give birth to 200, 300-year-old women. By the present time of their condition of life, women become infertile around about 40, 45, or some earlier, some later. We call it menopause. Men don't have that option. Men can create children that are in 200, 300 years old. So the only thing is, which haven't gone through the evolution, is they want to stop what it causes, allows that sperm to go out to create an child. So they want to put a block into it. You want to stop the process. So you give yourself a cancer, or you put a dam in, and the dam grows, and you get a lot of things behind it. You call it a prostate cancer. So we see the emotion from the top gland, the dimension of physicality, how they control and they interact to lead to generation and condition of creation of physical man. That's how it is. And then when they do that, they need an element which we call the lymph. It's a passage. It's like, you know, when you put you see these tomatoes going through a machine and you got the microwave to sterilize them. That's more or less how it is. As the lymph passes the vicinity of the gland, the physical gland, it gets tuned to the strength it needs, and it goes through the next one. This one, we need 20 of hydrogen, plutonium, and 20 hydrogen for calcium, and then this part goes to this one, and that part goes to the other one. And it's very, very intriguing how the system works. Any other question?
Okay, JC had a further question. So Mitra would be like the interaction of the primordial masculine and feminine energies in action. Would this be the understanding of Mitra?
No, it's wrong. Mitra is the essence of the emotion of the giving of the creator in loving itself, in a way. It was something sent to me, I think I explained it before. People asking about how we can interact with Mitra. Mitra is part of the way we live. The way Mitra is our conscious, embedded within us. We know what's good, what is bad. We know what good thing is to do, and we know what good thing is to think and talk. It's us who chooses the wrong way. Any other question?
Okay, we've got a couple of hands up here. Alexander, would you like to go first?
Alô?
Yes, hello. Do you need a translator?
Sim,
Rafael?
Alexandre do Brasil.
We have Raphael here.
Rafael, jump up, Rafael.
Ok.
Foi, Alexandre. Pode falar, por favor.
Boa noite, Rafael. Boa noite, Rick. Boa noite, Sr. Cash. E boa noite a todos. Eu não sei se é boa noite, mas... a minha pergunta é o seguinte. O presidente da França declarou ontem para o povo que vem uma situação muito desagradável, muito ruim, que iam precisar rezar com a força da alma para modificar o que, segundo ele, acredita que está vindo. E a minha pergunta em cima disso é: como estão as negociações dos equipamentos para oferecer o gás para a Europa?
So, Alexandre would like to know something. He said first that the president of France, he told some days ago that a very harsh situation is about to happen, and that he asked for the power of the soul of the people to change the situation. And so regarding to this, Alexandre would like to know about the units of gas and electricity. How is the negotiation with the European countries regarding this?
Is left with them. You got to realize, I was talking to someone the past couple of days, a lot of European leaders like to see this thing to come to head on with people and the government. The burden of the expenditure is beyond they can accept. And actually what we see, some governments will push for unrest and conflict due to these things. But the whole thing is on the table with the governments, and they have to ask the same as we done with, as I say, with the IAEA regarding the nuclear. But Keshe Foundation is going ahead with its own development and its own structure of work for these things. There is a very big problem, sits especially in Europe and other structures, as there is a bigger plan behind it. The Ukrainians fought for getting the ports opened up to export grain. Now that it's opened up, nobody's buying the grain. Our grains are bought in black market from the Russians. What happened to all this cry we can't export? Who's behind it? The prices increase. It serves the people who are just at the increased control. I was talking to one of the knowledge last night. The fuel electricity prices in England was told 17, 18 cents, and now is 80 odd cents in past 6 months. 5 or 6 times more. The same in Italy, we were told it was 9 cents, now it's 50 odd cents. Has the gas changed? Is it different combination? Is it different material? Is it something new? It's the same one, it's just profiteering. And how to use it, and mainly used by governments for these things. But the situation in Europe is dying. It's this dire condition. It is going to be, at the moment, it's a nice time. Watch Christmas, New Year into February and beyond. I foresee once we start putting these units out, the governments will make it public that people will stop producing. We see that. We are prepared for that as well in negotiating with the governments for transfer of technology. We have to change. If you look at the, what do you call it, the gas units we put out, the gas unit prices has been increased to 10,000 euros as of yesterday. The energy enhancement unit, gas unit, combined unit has been increased to 15,000. Plus we brought it from 10 kilowatt down to 5 kilowatt, because to be able to meet the demand and control the supply and demand. I can see, and this is the reason done, is that it's not that we are making profit. Whatever we make, we are an NGO, it goes back in. But we see that the manufacturers will not be able to supply the demand which will create in coming weeks. It is on the card. It's not our talk, as you said, President of France. French minister warned about this 4 weeks ago. Germans are expecting a huge unrest in Germany. They enjoyed the time when their fuel was cheap from Russia. Now they did not look outside, and what I call the nuclear lobby was strong enough to what do you call it, not to build any more nuclear reactors. They walked their nation into a cul-de-sac. Now they're stuck in. We have a nuclear reactor which is built, ready, is operating, but at zero power production in Austria. Now they're talking about opening up the reactor to meet the demand. Nuclear lobbyists, no, we don't want. So let's see in the winter when you have no food to eat, you want. Europe has walked itself into a very, very tight situation. And the same will come with the food and grain with the rest of the world. We are in for a big change, and that change will come understanding a lot of things in a different way. It's good for the technology, it's good for the spread of technology when people can look at the plasma technology and how they can feed themselves and how they can warm themselves. And as I said, maybe in the next few days, we show you the new combined system of the gas and electricity, and then we'll see how the reaction will be. Governments are watching it. It's not that they don't know. We have communicated with the German government, we communicate with the European community directly. They all know they're thinking about it. If there is going to be and when it's going to be, but it's going to be too late by the time they think.
O Rafael, posso fazer mais um complemento? Tá me ouvindo, Rafael?
Sim. So Alexandre would like to know if you want some, if he can make another question.
Yeah.
Sim, Alexandre.
O complemento que eu gostaria de fazer, uma vez que o Macron falou que deveríamos se concentrar com a alma, né, rezar com a alma, como nós, como fundadores da Fundação Cash, deveríamos fazer em relação a nossos sentimentos de orações para que a tecnologia Cash seja aceita o quanto antes para evitar um mal maior. De que maneira?
So Alexandre would like to know, once Macron said that we need to focus on the soul level, in our prayers on the soul level, how we as knowledge seeker can help in this process with our soul, with our prayers.
We're already doing what you, in a way, by understanding the work of the soul, we can do a lot. We hear a lot of world leaders now, they start talking about the soul, and then because they can't do anything else, and to them it's a mystery, people don't know what it is, so we let them to be that the soul feed us, the soul create electricity and the gas for us. It's a way of shortcutting their own shortcomings.
Ok. Obrigado, então, a você, Rafael, senhor Cash, senhor Rick. É que realmente me chamou a atenção do Macron falar em alma, né? Como o senhor mesmo disse que já estão falando. Obrigado.
So Alexandre just saying thank you very much. He said, just call my attention the way Macron was talking about the soul. So thank you very much.
Yeah. From what is coming out of the European community, especially, the European leaders, except Norway, Holland, and one which is partially, if you call, British, the rest are talking about the shortage of energy, the crisis to come. And they expect unrest, expect huge unrest. And a lot of you will see shortages of or increase in the price of food and the rest of it. And then you see crisis with the rest of what comes with these kind of conditions. Go back to your teaching. Go back to the knowledge you have. Go back into understanding how things are going to be. Very, very soon you will see 3-4 days electricity to each area. Then the 7 days you are used to, if it goes that way. Then it goes back what happens to your freezers. You're stashed away, you tell you have something in the bad time. It's all going to melt if they're going to be there. So go back to the teaching, how you learned to use the orange and the water. And start preparing yourself for making ganses of these things, that next time there is no orange in the market, you can't afford the orange, which is €4 a piece or €10 a piece. You have made a gans of orange, you have it ready. Then that becomes your supply. it might look funny to the others, but when you put the orange cans of orange next to an orange water and you drink the orange, you feel the orange and you taste it and you get the emotion of it. That's what it counts, not what other people say. The same with all the nourishments, the meat, the chicken, the lamb, the potato. Start adding up. Start making ganses of these and jar it like you do like a jam. These become your future stock. Our parents, our forefathers, and most of us, we jam it, we jar it, and we keep it. Now, it won't be there. The prices are there, cannot be afforded. We've seen it today in European markets. Last year, we used to buy the tomato for 99 cents. This year, we've seen that $7.99, $8.99. The same tomatoes from the same plant, from the same farm. It becomes beyond the reach. You buy a tomato, make a gans of it. You buy bread, make a gans of it, and you will receive the energy of it. And this jar will last for centuries. You don't have to say, oh, we used to have bread, you're already made of it. Start getting ready for what is to come, as they say. And if it doesn't come, one day you're short of bread, you have it in the jar. This situation in Western Europe is extremely serious. Do not take it as a joke. People will go to people's home to take food, but they don't know what's a jar of cans. Let it be on the shelf. They won't touch it, but it's your food. You've been taught enough. You're well versed. It's a summertime. Buy the peaches, the apples, the pears, the meat, and prepare yourself for that change. And prepare with it. You can give to the others to be. Always go back in Alex's talk. He wanted an orange in the morning. He wanted a, what do you call it, banana at night. And then he wanted to get drunk, and he did all three of them in one day. He was drunk for 2 days from the same water. Get prepared. You're in for a very, very harsh time in Europe if this thing carries on and goes through. And if we get further situation in Ukraine with the energy supply, then Ukraine was a supplier of energy into Eastern Bloc countries, which are the bread baskets of the Western Europe. You're going to run into bigger problems. France is the backbone of the electricity generation through their power stations. They run out, the rest of the Europe will sneeze very bad. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Let's go with Dean next. Go ahead, Dean.
Hi, Rick. Thanks for bringing me in. Hello, Mr. Kesh. I'd like to just say something for Mario, because I was in the private teachings, and Mario, as Dimitri said, did touch some flower life ley lines. I look at this interaction on the screen in the moment, and it's full of holes, full of space gaps. And Mario seemed to be able to connect some of the soul interactions that actually led to some very big interactions that happened in my experiences. So bless your soul, Mario. I know you're still present with us in each and every moment, as all souls are. So I'd just like to say a big thank you to Mario for all his teachings and all that he did within the foundation. And as we said, nothing is right and nothing is wrong. And so every interaction that Mario had a direct effect on many, many different souls in many different ways, in many field strengths that some of us will never comprehend and maybe not directly sense or feel. However, they are present in each and every moment. And thank you, Mario. And if you are able to transmute and be part of this interaction in these very moments, please receive from my soul to your soul. And thank you for the beauty of your shining star. Mr. Kesh, transmutation. Can that be in any moment, in any point in time? You spoke about the heartbeat of the planet, and you speak about the pulse. Is that pulse between ourselves and our soul at such a speed that the physicality is slightly unaware in this moment?
What do you mean and what you're talking about?
So what I'm talking about is the direct communication between the physical body and the soul. We have the heartbeat of the planet, we have the heartbeat of ourselves, and we have a pulse. That pulse in that, for me, it's like the communication between what we see physically all around us in this very moment and the soul aspect. Is this it's constant? Does it turn on and off so quickly that the physical body is unaware of it? Is it a direct communication like a pulse, but in so fast that we're unaware of it? That would be my question.
I don't still understand. What is so fast?
So it's the interaction of the communication between the soul aspect of you say the souls have another life. They're constantly in communication, and they're consciously aware of each other. And in each and every moment, they are interacting and guiding us, guiding the physicality. So, is that communication? Is it constant? Is it always present in each and every moment? But so fast that we're unaware of it in our physical bodies, in the slow
It is
down
there.
field.
It's like air. You breathe. Is there a position that you can't? There is no air to breathe. You go in the basement, you go in the loft, you go in the tunnel, you go inside the earth. It's always there. They don't inject it for you. It's the same way. It's always present.
So,
There is.
sorry, Mr. Kidd. No, you carry on.
Yeah, you're talking about Mario. There is a message which has come through the chat to us. I don't know how much it'll help you. Apparently, it's something some of you can help with it. It's been posted by our knowledge seeker. It says, "Hello, everyone. I was shocked to find out my brother, Mario Tani, passed away. My family and I are in shock. In case some of you do not know, this Mario real name was Mario Ernst Erteston. His brother all live in Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina, USA. The cousins and other family live in Canada. I'll be flying over there to Bangkok to make arrangements for him. I have been in touch with the Canadian Embassy. If anyone can help us get the number or email address of the Canadian Condo Association where he lived, please help with any knowledge where they brought Mario to would help us great. And to thank you all in advance for the help you have given us. My name is John. It's his brother. If any of you knowledge seekers know where he used to be, where he lived, and where condo, wherever he is, that we can help the family to at least get the hand of the knowledge of the brother. If any of you knowledge seekers had contact with him in Bangkok, I'm sure one of our knowledge seekers in Thailand can help get in touch with me, or somehow we can get the brother to, maybe would like to take the body of the brother back home. If you have any knowledge of his place and time, or where he is, or where he was, or where he lived, they apparently lost contact, and they're trying to find a brother.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. That's as you just said there, a brother. It's the brother to all of us. We're all brothers and sisters, and yeah, it's a wonderful thing when humanity becomes one, becomes brothers and sisters again, and understands the divinity within inside themselves. And Mario's picture here and his teachings shared a lot of knowledge, and his family deserve, like all family members do, the beauty of this knowledge, this universal condition, to be spread evenly and continuously in this moment, so that everybody receives the field strength of Mario's love and attention, the care that he gave. And yes, there were some moments where, like we all do, we have other thoughts and interactions. As you've rightly said many times, Mr. Kesh, nothing is right and nothing is wrong, and every interaction is a field strength, is a plasma that resonates and comes back. It flips, it changes its position, and sometimes we need that interaction to see the other side of the plasma, to see the other aspect, and to feel that strength, to feel the emotion, and then let it drift on by, and gain the emotional experience from that interaction, to then gently guide us and give us the a new interaction, a new field strength that will enable us to understand more. As you said, this technology is ever expanding, and we are just touching the very tip of the very first step. And so it is unlimited. And Mario's beautiful teachings and the drawings that he did explain this to his understanding. And from his understanding, many of us learned some very deep, knowledgeable concepts of the universal flow and energies. I have one of his devices that he spoke about. Actually made this this tool, and I put some of the knowledge that Mario taught, and it was inverted triangles, pyramids, however you want to describe it. And on the end of it, I put some of the plasma waters in certain points, like we see the points on this Flower Life grid that Mario drew out when he came to his position, where he, just by interacting with the fields, the universe spoke to him and shown him many diverse and beautiful interactions that he took within himself, and then expanded upon and drew physically and spoke about with words and intentions. And that's the ethos of the foundation. And so some of the interactions, whether they are however they were, they all have a beauty, and we all experienced and learnt from it, each and every single one of us, in this very moment. And thank you, Mario. Thank you for the beautiful family of Mario, for bringing him forward, and for the soul of Mario. That is the soul of all of us, within each and every single one of us, part of the creation, part of the creator. Thank you, Mr. Kesh. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Okay, I think Lynn may have another question. I think her hand came up again. Is that true, Lynn?
Yes, Mr. Kesh. Another question from Chinese. His question is about recently China Yangtze River region has suffering from very high temperature, and also we heard a lot of reports the same in Europe in past 2 years. And also China has some hailstones and tornadoes in last several years. So he's asking, is this because of greenhouse effect or because of the solar system is going to the higher energy of the universe or some other reasons? Is this related to the evolution of human and our planet?
This is a natural process. We just see part of it, as I said before, because of the present communication systems we have. We think it's exclusively just happened. These are things that happened for centuries and thousands of years. And part of it we affect because of the way we have abused this planet, and part of it we reposition some of the what we call resources of this planet. And now we are in this problem with it. So, be it in China, be it in Europe, we get it sometimes in South America, we get it in Africa. If you go some 20, 30 years ago, Ethiopia was droughted, and we had all these Ethiopian children with nothing but the skin and bone. It's something we always nobody knew because of the lack of communication across, but now is there. And it's continuous. It's not exclusive to China or Europe. We had a huge floods in Iran 2 or 3 weeks ago. Thousands of people have died. Thousands videos we see. We see in different part of the world the climate change is partially we are moving one level lower into nearness to the sun, but this drop off maybe few centimeters will create a lot of changes for the ice and the temperature of this planet. This planet will become inhabitable in coming time, the way we know it. We have an expansion to a contraction. We have a pull at the same time. We are on the edge of the galaxy. We are getting pulled further in. So our solar system shell is getting under bigger pressure. Very, very small. We don't feel it, but it takes millions of years. And now that creates a new condition of life inside, which we are part of it. Then we have the evolution of the dropping in, because as we lose the strength in the solar system, as we rotate so much with rotation of day and night of this planet, and the annual circle and other dimensions of the motion inside it is cannot be compensated by. And partially this loss of the gravity or the strength field within the center, we're getting pulled to the center of the sun at the same time. So all combined together creates the new condition. Has burning up the more CO2 gases, global warming has created this condition. When you move to a new position, the way creation of CO2 led to creation of sustainability of life billions of years ago, now we see the reverse of it, and so we see the condition. Do you want to blame it on the heating? What heating, burning of the gases? Maybe a little bit, but not much. Evolution of the planet's life is bringing a new condition. We are getting closer to the sun, so we're getting warmer. Doesn't matter how we want to bend it. We are moving into the center of the galaxy closer by millions of kilometers every day, every hour. So that creates a higher temperature, higher field interaction. We are not just burning the fuel on this side. We've got the pressures of the fields from the solar system and from outside the solar system on us. And the closer you get, the hotter it gets. We dropped in by, just go nowadays, they measure it, see how much. Rick, can you check it? We can see it. How much in the last century, we come closer to the sun. Past decades, people measure the distance between the sun and the earth. How many centimeters have we come closer in past 20 years? I think all of you know how to Google, ask Google. What's the distance difference between 100 years ago and now? And that distance means higher temperature field, higher strength fields from the sun. So they melt the ice. It's very easy. Rick, can you just check?
Yeah, I'm
Must be
trying
somebody.
to find that information.
Yeah. How much the moon has got closer to us in the past 50 years. And there is a critical point. At a certain point, you move on, you change.
Let's see.
Global warming was a very good Dutch game to sell a lot of trees which had never got planted to make money.
Seems most of the consensus is that this Earth is moving away from the sun, but very slowly.
It's moving into the sun. The gravity of the sun is pulling it. We don't
That's what
see.
I
we
always
don't
thought
see,
that. Yeah, I'm trying to
we
find it
don't.
here somewhere.
We don't see the planetary system falling out of the solar system. They get generated and get pulled into. If we were moving out, the ice should have grown. You get cooler.
I think they're talking about the loss of mass of the sun causes the Earth to go away from the sun rather than closer to it, because there'd be less gravity effect is the idea.
The gravity comes from the center of the planet, not from outside mass. It comes from the fields from the inside.
What about the force between the sun and the Earth?
It comes by the strength of the solar system, sun. The field, the strength of the sun compared to Earth is huge difference.
So if the field strength of the sun is decreasing, then wouldn't
it cannot decrease.
Wouldn't the Earth
it cannot
drift?
Decrease. No, the field strength inside cannot decrease. The gravity of the sun doesn't change as such. Whether it changes, it transfers right across through. It's like when they say the temperature inside the sun is so many billions. It cannot be. It's the interaction of the fields. The heat of the sun we see on the top is because of its interaction of this gravitational field and its inertial mass. It has no relevance into what's inside. We know this because we done tests. We have carried out tests now physically. We know it's not just a guess and the theory. Reactors, condition of the reactors show constant temperature in the center of the reactors. This global warming with the burning of the fuel, it's, what do you call it? If there is something else which doesn't add up, we look at the Earth in geological sense, we see layers on top of layers, which means the mass of the Earth is increasing by the compression of the field of the sun hitting it or touching it. That has the Earth external diameter has grown by extensive amount due to the fallout of the interaction of the fields of its gravity with the sun's gravity. This air we breathe is continuously added to and converted. It's not constant, it's not a closed capsule. So the mass, if you look at the Earth, sun is losing a mass, Earth is gaining a mass. So it gets heavier. And you've got to understand the sun as a total is interacting with the fields of the universe, which they add to its mass, the same as Earth does. We are dust, speck of dust compared to the sun. And the sun, if it interacts, our atmosphere interacting with the sun creates these layers of the soil we see on top of the Earth. The solar system interacts with the environment of the galaxy, and it's continuously adding to its mass, not losing the mass. But the addition there is in a plasmatic conversion. The physics, especially cosmic and cosmophysics and astrophysics, is so muddled up. They only take what they want to promote. You don't look at the totality of them because they never understood the totality of their knowledge.
That seems to be true. And me trying to look this up, there's a number of conflicting ideas and theories. And one of the latest ones is that it's increasing the distance between the Earth and Sun. I mean, there's regular changes that we know about that's between the Earth and Sun, but as far as the sort of yearly increase or decrease, they're talking about 1 micrometer or a millionth of a meter is the yearly increase in the distance between the Earth and Sun. That's from Cornell University, at least. So I don't know. I think I'll trust what you say rather than what's on the internet right now. No one's out there with the tape measure measuring it to the nearest micrometer, I am sure.
Yeah, but it's a dynamic surface. It's not a solid surface. Between the Earth and this moon, we have a solid surface. We fix it. And you've seen that thing, the guy goes out every day measuring the distance between the moon and the Earth. They left the system with Apollo. And this guy's job is just to measure every day the distance if it's changed.
They put a mirror on the moon and they use a laser to time the laser to find the distance, I think.
Yeah. With the sun, we have a dynamic. It's a dynamic floating system. Any other question?
We have a question from Jefferson that needs to be addressed. He's sent it in a couple of different places. This Jefferson Modesto from Brazil says, thank you very much for your presence among us. We know plasma has no frequency, but I would like to know if frequencies create plasma and if plasma creates frequencies. And if so, how can we relate plasma, frequencies, soul, solar physicality, and physicality?
There are 2 or 3 things to consider. First of all, in plasma, we don't have frequencies. But in plasma, compared to the other plasmatic fields, as it converts itself to one, they have a frequency. The frequency comes when you want to penetrate, as I explain all the time, a dimension. And between the plasmas, we have a frequency. We create that frequency as the stronger is trying to penetrate or the weaker trying to penetrate stronger. Either way you look at it on the field strength dimension. But within the plasma, there is no frequency. because there is no resistance. It's a continuous expansion and flow through the same. Unless you have bits which gather, they become like clusters, and then the field has to interact with it. And then that creates that frequency in that part, in that specific position. It's very, because plasmas are DC. If they interact with another plasma, the friction and penetration and strength, we call it a frequency, exists. Otherwise, they could just go through it. This you see in the enhancement unit. A lot of people come to enhancement units, and then when they come out, they say, "Oh, my pain is gone. And I couldn't walk, I can walk." For you to change that in 1 hour by the world of the medicine's impossibilities. But if you touch the soul of the cell, then you change it. This is what a lot of knowledge seekers, they have not comprehended this. When we have a person who's been in bed for 5 years, 10 years, 4 years, whatever, or in a wheelchair, and they start walking within 2 days, you show that to any physiotherapist, any doctor, they say this is a fake. Because now if you have an arm injured in a plaster for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, the arm freezes, and you have to get the joint moving to get it going. You can't just, if you got a broken joint and you locked it for 6 weeks, and as they take the plaster, just open it anymore. It doesn't happen. Especially if it's frozen for years and operations done on it. How come that we, as knowledge seekers, go through these systems, and within a minute we come out of the room or out of the system, we walk? And this is what you think, oh, it helps. Because with the expansion of the soul, with the enhancement of the soul of the cell or the body, it's the soul which moves and physicality follows. None of you can explain to me how we got the guy which has been in bed for years, walking after 2 weeks, and they walk as they've never been. Physiotherapists don't accept it. It's impossibility. But it does, because again, you enhance the soul of the cell that changes the physicality, and people walk. People have no pain. They were locked and they're open, because we work with ganses and with the structure of the cell of the same strength as the body of the man. This is how they say, oh, it's all gimmick, or this is fake. You show me a fake, because I've faced this many times. Even people don't remember it themselves, they're moving it. Any other question?
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, we've got a hand up here with somebody new, Leszek. Leszek, I believe is the name. If you can say who you are and where you're from, that'd be great. That is, if you wish to put your hand up in the first place.
Now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Kesh. I'm from Poland. I was already talked with you like 2 months ago on the Zoom. My question is now, the spaceship is for sale, yes? For €1 million, yes? Hello?
Yes, what?
The spaceship is for sale now, yes? Because I see on the...
It's for 25 million, yes. And only to governments.
Because, you know, I asking about this, you know, this another healing, you know, machines what you have. But nobody answer from the sales department, you know, is and in Poland is many people sick. The, you know, this hospitality is not so good. So I think if there are a couple of machines, even one would be went to Poland, so suddenly will be many clinics want to buy another, because the people don't know this kind of machine exists even.
The systems are, if you talk about the space system, is 25 million. If you talk about the enhancement unit, they've been put at 1 million. And we start putting these out now that the other development is completed. And we only deal with people who have a medical background operation.
Yeah, but the problem is the people what they have the money and they have this medical thing, they don't know this exists, you know. So I asked.
So it's your job to do it.
Exactly.
Yes,
but you know, I write to the sales department, you know, it's like already 2 weeks ago, and nobody answer, you know, is
yeah, it's the summer holidays. Give them a chance.
Okay, sorry.
Everybody is somewhere. Sales,
Okay.
sales usually try to. We get this. Some of the sales go to the wrong place. Some of the links are closed, but people still send things to it or not attended. But there they have opened a much easier way recently, which if you're asking any question, is if you go to Telegram at customer service KF, you usually get faster results, answers. This, I'm going to the emails or whatever, it's called at customer service KF.
Because you know the people don't want to wait. Okay, we order first, and after want to get the answer. What going on? The first come look at it in how this looks, how that works, because the people don't believe. Like you says, I was using last month this kind of system what they make people in Poland. You know. I have a small system at home, but I use the biggest system because I have problem with the arm after operation. And even my family was laughing, you know, you go and they don't help you, you know. And after 5 hours, you know, around 5 hours, you know, I can drive a car with any problem, you know. So, and I can lift it my hand, you know, my arm, and there is more flexibility, you know. So the system, I know myself, is working, you know. Even I using the machines what they was made from the people what they just learn, you know, from the foundation, you know.
Yeah, there are a lot of people do these things. A lot of people put. This is why we open the patents. We lead the science, we lead the technology in the different ways, and the knowledge seekers follow or add to it. And we had a lady from Poland yesterday in the enhancement unit, and when she came out, says, "Oh, I came to know the technology, and I helped some knowledge seekers in London, and they don't even take a day off work. They keep on building and selling these technology." And then she showed me what they sell and what they do. These are knowledge. One of them is somebody who used to work in our lab. He learned and he's gone, and part of what he had, he added to, and he's busy with it. That's why we open the patents for people to add. The way we do research is totally different than the others. That's why we don't open the enhancement units and other things to public.
And I have another question, if it's not secret. Some of the machine already in Poland or still not?
No, nothing is in Poland. Whoever tells you is KF has, these are all trying to fake it, as we call it.
So, by the way, I send you my invitation on LinkedIn. So if you want to, you can accept it. So I'm using the opportunity to tell you.
Thank you very much. We don't usually respond.
Okay, so
thank
this
you
is
very
the
much.
question. So thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Okay, we've got a question in the Q&A from Lissy I'd like to address. I've got an image that we can have a look at here. And get that up first. And the question is, She says, thank you very much for all your knowledge. A seeker made this star formation with CO2 reactors. It feels very nice, subtle. The sensation is of being in clouds and super relaxed. It may be that a ship trip has been made, or by being reactors, are you pulling your energy? It's probably a loose translation there or something. I'm not quite clear on.
But these are
think-
bottles of gases on the floor, under a table or something, am I correct?
Yeah, it says they made a star formation with the CO2 reactors. So we see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5 of them underneath the bed here. So they seem to say that it produces a sensation of being in clouds and super relaxed. I'm not sure what the question actually is. I think
We
they're
had
suggesting
a
that-
we had a knowledge seeker. He said he has maghreb, he has everything. He says, but he doesn't feel any of the fields. And he said, my friends come and say, wow, what the energy, what the thing in this house, wow, blah, blah. He says, but I don't feel any of it. And I said, because you're so physical and you want to be in control of everything. If you accept to receive, you're not in control of. You only control what you want and you don't want to receive. A lot of people make these systems around the house and it has an effect. It actually interacts with the body of the people. And it changes people, which is changing behavior. So depends what level of fields you are and what it creates in you. And it's nice to see things like this. Next time, I presume this is a dinner table, maybe a working table from what we see it could be, with the table with the legs or whatever. I wonder if you put a water on top and you drink it, would you need food? It's still set at the table to eat, but you get fed already from the system. These will come a feature very soon. You know the old story with the Jewish guy. I translate into the Gans, if you understand it. The Jewish guy, you made a bottle of butter, a bottle of cheese, and honey, and he put it in the locker, and it was a glass locker room, and then locked it. And every morning he opened the locker and gave a piece of bread to the children, and then they rubbed it on the glass. Says, "Oh, you can have honey and cheese or honey and butter." That was their food. And then one day he comes home. He was too late from synagogue, and he saw the children rubbing the bread on the locker. And he said, "Can't you go to school hungry one day? You always have to wait for me to open to rub the glass." In a way, if you put jars of ganses of honey and cheese and butter, that's how you'll be feeding yourself. Very soon, it'll become as common as ABC when the crisis comes. So jars like this are trying, it's not just for the CO2, add other things with them, see if it satisfies other part of the need of the physical life. Any other question?
Okay, question from Cristiano in the Q&A here. Is it normal to feel this tornado in both directions? I had 2 experiences somewhat similar to this tornado. First was an interaction with the cup of man, where it felt like a clockwise and counterclockwise rotation, and it felt like my body was swinging. The other time I felt this rotation was the week we replicated the flight tests by phone here in Brazil. So the question is, do we control these fields through the soul of physicality or the soul of man to initiate flight? Still there, Mr. Kesh? Your microphone is off.
So my microphone was off by mistake here. What I was talking to myself was that we see this rocking forward and backwards and clockwise and anti-clockwise with many knowledge seekers who go to the system, especially the last systems we put up. We hear a lot about it.
Stefania talked about her experience of spinning. That was a pretty dramatic
This
thing.
is the beginning of what I was explaining to you. When your system, when you settle down, you understand the work of the soul and soul of physicality, you will get this. And so it's not talking just about the tornado and the way that you create that system for yourself. We have already seen it. The systems are set to do this. The new reactors will create more of this condition of the interaction. The two new flight systems which are getting added to, ready for the transmutation, mobile transmutation, and what I call the flights, are totally different, or amalgamation of the knowledge to do this. And this, what you call tornado or rotation, clockwise, anti-clockwise, we've seen, especially in past 2-3 week sessions with many knowledge seekers. I can say 50% of the people in the system, they talk about it when they come out, as they were rocking from like clockwise and anti-clockwise. Yesterday we had about 4 people doing this. But this shows that the technology is very correct. We're not on, because of the new setup, we allow the soul of the physicality to expand, we allow the soul of man to expand, and the expansion in different strengths create that interaction and tornadoes and rocking. And the physicality is too weak to stand such a, what do you call it, strong fields. So it goes with the wind, you become part of it, and they rotate. If there are any knowledge seekers from yesterday, they can tell you the feeling they had. It is like rocking and motion is there. And I said as a joke, you feel like the Jewish rabbis banging their head against the wall, you know, they're knocking back and forth. But this shows that the soul has been elevated so much. And both the soul of physicality and the soul of the man, that you feel this turning, this rotation, this rock. What we teach is what you will see in reality as it comes. And this is one of the signs to show us that the system are well tuned, well set to meet the demand of the man in the coming time for everything. Any other question?
Yes, let me see here. We have Ed. Ed can go ahead next.
Good morning, Mr. Kesh. This is Ed from Indiana. In what you were just saying, a question popped into my mind. Is elevation of the soul, is it an adding to the soul, or is it giving the soul more space to expand?
It's a combination of both, but you don't need expansion to increase the soul, the strength, for the use of the strength of the soul.
So it's an actual giving more to the soul.
Is actually soul giving more, that the higher strength appears. The more you empty the cup, the more you receive in the cup.
So it is. So it's an expansion then.
Doesn't need to be expansion.
Okay. Okay. All right.
The more need to be expansion.
The more you give, the more you receive.
The more you give from the end. So the end increases to be at a higher order than what it was before. So you receive a higher order, you operate on a higher order strength. What you give, in a way, bends backwards towards you, comes back to you. So increases the strength. Contender is the same. Contender is the same. It's the man who changes the strength of it through his conduct. Shall we call it the day, Rick? It's nearly 12:18.
Sure, Mr. Kesh, yes. Any remaining questions, people can carry them over till next week.
Yeah. Please, those of you who are, what do you call it, booking for the enhancement unit flight simulation, especially for Moon and Mars, please complete your form as fast as possible, because we might bring you in next few weeks for a pre-test, or we might run a pre-test with you to prepare for the, what do you call it, final assault for the flight system. Because we noticed with the other knowledge seekers, those who've been with us in the first 2-3 weeks and they come back, they haven't started the process. So we would like to start that process with you. That is ready for the next step. It makes it easier for us and for you to go through the journey, and allows us to complete the cycle. And so if you have filled in the form or you submitted it, but you haven't completed it, please complete it as fast as possible. We bring you on the different days than the Tuesday, Wednesdays to, in a way, put you through the process of the training, or we train you online till we have you ready for what we call the final takeoff. Thank you very much for today. And hopefully we'll see how we can do and we can contribute. And those of you who are going for the, what they call the combined gas and electric unit, please realize we will go on the order received for delivery, because people are placing orders, and as is produced as completed from January onwards, we deliver on a first come basis. Thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Great, thank you very much once again, Mr. Kesh. And we've thanked you for the last 446 Knowledge Seekers workshops, and this makes 447 here on Thursday, August 25th, 2022. Thank you everybody for attending today's workshop, and we look forward to another one next week at this same time and place. And our next public teaching workshop is coming up on August 30th, which is Tuesday of next week, and that will be the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace and Justice, with members of the Universal Council. And that starts at 4 p.m. Central European Time. Okay, I think that's it for today. And we'll go out with the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit music version. And we will dedicate this one, this clapping of hands, for our friend Mario, wherever he is. Thank you, everyone, and bye for now.